Start it up. Lit. Start it up. This is lit.
What is up, everybody? My name's Louis, also known as MrCameraJunkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. Saturday night, and tonight is episode number 78, and can't you believe it? It's number 78 weeks consecutive of the Camera Junkie livestream, and I welcome you to the party. Thanks for stopping by and spending your most precious commodity, which is your time, here with me on the stream. Like I said, whoa, we got a foreign little object flying around there. Okay, I'm using a different microphone, but it seems to be catching the focus. So let's do that here. I could just gonna leave it down there. It looks good. With that being said, today we're gonna be talking about the RODECaster Pro II. And Rode this past week pretty much just mic dropped the entire industry with the release and just, you know, the hype behind this product. I am very fortunate enough to be part of the Ecamm community and being a moderator on both their Facebook and on their Discord platforms. I was actually gifted upon included with all the other moderators and pre-ordered one of these devices, the RODECaster Pro II. So as soon as they start shipping, I will be having one in my possession, and I'm really excited. You know, if you've been here before, that I've always been working on my audio, trying to get it the best. And today I said, you know what, let's mess around with audio. That's why I'm switching up a couple of the microphones, so on and so forth, just to have some fun with it tonight, because I'm just getting myself hyped and ready for, you know, in a couple of weeks, in the middle of June, I believe it's going to be released. And once it does, this thing is going to once again changed the game for everything that we understand as audio for content creators. But before I just jump on my soliloquy and just get off on a rant, I want to say what's up to the Camera Junkie crew. Let's see who's here. Right off the bat, what is up? We have Professor Nez in the house. And you know what's the funny thing? I'm running a little behind on everything, and I was like, you know what? I think I got everything going, and I forgot my iPad with the sound effects, which is what I would, be accentuating it. But air horns and an explosion sound to be added in the mix. So what's up, Professor Nez? And for those of you who don't know, this is Professor Nez, the one that I've mentioned so many times here on the channel before. I will be on his live stream tomorrow afternoon, I believe, 12:30 Eastern. And that's usually the time that he goes live. Today he had an impromptu live stream where he just went live on a Saturday, and lucky enough for me that I was able to catch it and participate just the same way. With that being said, we have John in the house saying what's up to the crew. He says grab your popcorn, grab your popcorn and settle in. Great topic. Yeah, we're gonna have fun today. We also have Paul saying hello. Scott brought the Krispy Kremes. Man, you know what? This is Krispy Kreme worthy. This is celebration worthy. So let's see what we're doing here. I'm going to move that over there. All right. Oh, it looks like we have a fly that just decided to crash the party. Kevin Cox is all words today. You know what? Let me get some water. And get things going. Okay, so Kevin Cox is saying hello to all. How are you doing, sir? Okay, let's see who else we got in here. Mr. Sarkeesian stopping by. All right, Sly Reader saying the weekend is upon us. Hello, everyone. How are you doing, Sly? Thank you for stopping by. Dr. Omar is here. He's saying hello to the fam. Aubrey is here. Hey, Aubrey. A pleasure to have you on the live stream. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. So John says, congratulations, Lewis. Used the RCP for the last year and I love it. Not sure if I'll get the version 2, but the boutique preamps are tempting. That's one thing that really does have me like hyped up, because there's a lot of things, when it comes to audio, and what I've learned as of late is that I've gained, a lot in my audio by removing a lot of it. So it's been addition through subtraction. So the more items that I've been able to remove, the cleaner and the better my audio has been sounding. One of the things that I've also noticed is kind of like the big flex about this RCP2, which was they said that you're no longer going to need preamps, like preamp inline or like DBX 286, that it will only add noise. And if those of you who also follow Mr. Tom Buck, he was able to release a couple of videos this week because that dude is a beast. So as soon as he was able to speak about it, he went and did an impromptu live that was like an hour and a half, and that was amazing because we were able to hang out for like an hour and a half, and he had like 600 plus in that stream. And a couple of us moderating the chat. It was very interesting. But big ups to him. He also released his first video just yesterday, and he's just scratching the surface. Excuse me. Professor Nez, I just sneezed, so this has to do with you, because this is not a normal thing for me to be sneezing. Coughing, needing some water, absolutely, but the sneezing aspect, man, that's so funny that the few live streams that you're able to catch, I happen to be sneezing on it just the same way. That's hilarious. Oh, what's up, D? Saying I'm pretty excited about this thing. I'm looking to swap out my Motu M4. Well, we're gonna get into that as well, but pleasure to have you here, sir. All right, and yeah, everybody's just saying what's up to each other. Just a quick reminder, if you happen to have any questions about the subject at hand, make sure to put a Q colon in front of it. That way I can find it easier and make sure that your question does get answered. But with that, let's talk about this new RCP2. I don't have version 1, so I was always just waiting and biding my time, and I've gone through all the iterations when it comes to audio and going through all the kind of incorrect steps, going from cheap, Amazon mixers just to get all the sound in one location, and then after that seeing how that didn't even last me like 6 months before everything inside died. I then made it a decision that I was going to be saving up to get myself something of quality so that I didn't have to be buying a bunch of different headaches. So I was already in the market for this, and what I had done prior is what I'm using as far as my audio system right now. My audio system right now, I'm just using a generic condenser microphone, and I have it running directly into my Zoom PodTrack P4, which is a 4-channel interface, and I have that connected directly to my Mac Studio computer via USB-C. That's it. Anything else that's being done as far as the preamping, so on and so forth, or being controlled through the audio is being done through another program that's living inside of my computer called Audio Hijack. So Audio Hijack is now doing a bit of compression, cleaning up, and making sure that the signal is correct before it hits Ecamm and goes out to you. Prior to this, I was trying to do everything externally because my computer pretty much couldn't handle all of the work as far as doing the live streams, and then on top of that, getting the audio processed in a timely manner so that it actually synchronized with my lips while it was being broadcast. So it was always a delay and always gave an issue with that aspect. So I decided to go away from the internal computer processing and use external, which caused, it did help, but also caused a lot more issues when it came to, noise in my signal. The reason why is because of the simple fact that I was actually plugging it into a couple of different sources. So even though my computer was on a UPS, uninterrupted power supply system, where that if there was a power surge or anything of that sort, it would be controlled. But my microphone preamp that I was using off to the right, I actually had connected on another power strip, and whenever I would be having pretty much anything connected to that power strip that was consuming power, that noise of the current running through was going through the preamp and then being administered into my audio. So you have to make sure that when you're doing these things, you know exactly what you're doing, because something as simple as just turning on that fan that you see right there in my picture, having that on that strip while it was processing my microphone preamp was causing that the 60 hertz or whatever it is that it's running off there literally was being broadcast through my audio. And I was always trying to figure out, where am I getting this hiss? And it was something that simple, because you don't really put much thought into it, that started causing like all of these issues. So now, once I realized the error of my ways, I said, you know what, I'm going to get the RCP and I'm going to start saving up for it. And while I decided to do that this year was when the rumblings started coming out of, hey, you know what, you might just want to hold off and wait for the RCP2 because it should be coming along the way. And in that time, other companies started producing other products. Like Tascam came out with a similar product to their... Oh, okay, thank you for that. I think it's that track, I'll tell you the truth. I wish I could figure it out, but with Ecamm right now, I'm not sure if... I think I can, I just haven't gone into it. I think I can adjust each track, but thanks for the information, D. Okay, where was I? So at the moment, I was already saving to get myself the correct device, but like I said, I had heard the rumblings and said, you know what, just hold off. And I had the opportunity to get this PodTrack P4, and once I got that in my hands was when I actually just decided to start all over again, got rid of all mixers, everything else, and just started using this directly to my computer. And once I did that, that made a huge difference in my audio quality. So now that's no longer been an issue, but I was slowly saving for, you know, the RCP or its successor. And lucky for us, in this past week, we got the news of those murmurs or the rumors that were heading around through the internets and these digital streets, which was the release of the RCP 2. Now, this whole thing has been rebuilt from the ground up, and like I mentioned before, I think the biggest flex that they could drop is the simple fact that you don't need preamps, and if you were to use preamps, you're pretty much making your signal dirtier or noisier. So I'm all about the clean preamps, and if any of you, I'm not bringing it up right now, but take a look at Tom Buck's channel. He's already got a couple of videos. The second one is a 40-minute video that I have actually watched twice, and it just makes my mind run with the possibilities of the potential powerhouse that this system is going to be. Sure, you can take a couple of channels and digitally put them into one fader so that you're running a stereo pair through one fader, because each fader could be everything or it could be nothing, because it's all the same. And that's where it gets really, really interesting, because at the end of Tom's video, he connects his guitar and his bass guitar, and he just starts using it as the input. So when I saw that, I even messaged him, and in his video I was like, could you imagine in the future having digital foot pedals for your guitars built in, something where you could actually just have an extension of a MIDI controller through USB, so that you can have it on maybe like an Elgato Stream Deck pedal, just maybe, and have those pedals be your digital guitar pedals that are already set to the smart keys on this system. So like right now, like my mind has just run away with itself with the possibilities, and just hearing how clean the audio is coming out from this device, I'm really excited about getting my hands on it and just start utilizing it for pretty much everything that I do here. So this is just like, the hype behind this device is real. And the biggest thing about this is like I think of, I see Tom right there giving me the eyes. What's up, Tom? That one of the biggest things is just like that this is literally just scratching the surface. Tom made his video and it's all beta software. So if you've seen the evolution of the RODECaster Pro, the first one, and you see everything that has been, like where it's at today comparative to where they started, that's where like the potentiality, so to speak, is where I'm like just blown away, because like this thing has the potential to be a real game-changing device for so many markets. The fact that they're going, that they put so much thought into it, and the music aspect is gonna be huge. The fact that it has voice reverbs, things like that, I see a future of like plugins. There's just straight plugins and people creating their own plugins for the RCP that is gonna give you, like old tube mic type of amplifiers being like built right in, just like you see a lot on these like universal audio devices. So these, like the Apollo Twin, I believe costs like $1,200 and up, and that's just getting started, and that's without purchasing the actual plugins themselves, which run from $200 to $400 easily on just a couple of different variations to just add to your stack on your digital compressors. And I just see like a huge future for Rode with this device. Now, talking about Tom, I was talking with him that you know, he's got a very good relationship with Rode. The fact that I believe people still don't have the beta software and he does is like, I'm not trying to put, Tom under the bus, but it's almost like they made a concerted effort to make sure that Tom got whatever type of software or firmware available to him as soon as possible, which speaks volume to his character and how awesome he is. But I think that that's also an amazing thing from Rode, because they recognized like the amount of genuine enthusiasm that Tom has for their product. And they were, as a company, a bit upset that some of the photos and some of the information was leaked before they were able to do their release. And another company that usually tends to get a bit upset when things like that happen is Apple. And I told him my honest opinion, and my honest opinion was that I think it only helped to build hype. I think it only helped to build hype on the entire, the entire movement that's happening right now. And because of the extreme popularity of the RCP1, or like Tom says, the RCP OG, then Tom says, I paid them $1 million in a jar of Vegemite to get the firmware. I see. I think it was a good deal, bro. I think it was worth it. But yes, that, like, what I see from Rode is that they've reached that level as a company, like where they themselves might be like a little like, oh, we wanted to do it this way. I do understand that, but you also got to roll with the punches. It could be my particular circumstances, because I was planning for a baby shower when little Mr. Aiden decided to crash the party, and even though he did that, and kind of like ruined the surprise, it doesn't take anything away from how special he is to me in my life. But bringing it as an analogy, that I really think that Rode is reaching that level. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I believe you said in the live stream 2.5 billion with a B. And if Rode has distributed 2.5 billion RODECaster 1s and have that type of following, like, you're already reaching that echelon, so to speak, of a $1 trillion company. Now their finances might not be the same because of the products that they're providing, but they're definitely there when it comes to the movement and the backing of us, the creators, the people who are actually buying these products and putting them to use day in and day out. So let's see if you guys have any questions. I'm going to check the comments. I got to scroll back on it because it was just running through. All right, let me see where I left this off. Okay, we got Producer TV in the house. What's up, Mr. Rooks? How are you doing, sir? All right. Okay. Kevin says, looks like a nice piece of kit to do with. Wish I knew how to play guitar. Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing that I agree. Like, I wish I could put more use into this system once I get it, because I am not like a string player, straight percussionist. I can play drums, congas, bongoses, like Hispanic type instruments, but the strings, I can never do it. And mostly with me, it was weird. It was like whenever I tried, I would get like this searing pain down my arm and my thumb would lock. Now, I don't know if that's something that, it deals with, but I also didn't have like the longest fingers, and I guess it was just the way that I had to hold my hand to try to get the notes correct that caused that like extreme pain. So, all right, we have a question. It says, will you VESA mount yours, or do you have a spot designated for the RCP2? I am really thinking I'm gonna VESA mount mine. You know what? Let me keep this shot right here. Let me see this. The reason why is because I got one recently. So check this out right here. This was a monitor like a small TV that I was going to use. I've been using it in a couple of ways. Let me show you. I disconnect the HDMI, pop it in the back, and go sideways on it, because that's how I've been using it mostly, to get my information, so on and so forth, when I'm reading like Slack or emails. This has been very helpful. It's running on my Mac Mini on the side here, and with universal control, I'm able to take care of that easily with the same keyboard and mouse. Excuse me. So that's what I've been messing around with mostly, and this is my new like little VESA arm mount. I wanted to put this TV to use, and when I looked into the replacement mount for this older TV, it was like $25, and I got this hydraulic arm VESA mount system for $30, right? For $30. I was like, yeah, I'll get that, and that will be so much easier. Another thing that I'm able to do is that because Aiden's bed is right over here to the left of me, I've also been able to just swing this over and play like videos for him, just to kind of distract him while I'm working. So it's been extremely versatile. I'm really thinking about just grabbing another one of those for $30 and throwing it here, so that I'm able to utilize the RCP2, and then also just move it out of the way and utilize the most out of my desk whenever I need to for other purposes. So I'm really thinking about it. Instead of just having it like this, this is the PodTrack P4. The PodTrack P4 is very small, so it wasn't an issue for it to just sit here. As you can see, it's very small, but as you can also tell, has nowhere near the capabilities of what this new device is going to have. So I am extremely, I'm almost giddy about this, because I wanted the RCP one for a while. I was just, how I say, like being the best minimalist I could, right? So with that, I was just like waiting for it, and now that this is the system that's coming around, I know that I have plenty of years of firmware updates to look forward to, and that this is something that could be pretty much my end-all solution for audio. Now I have so many ideas for it because of the way that you can route audio in and out. So I believe, and I'm not sure, I'll get my hands on it, maybe Tom could let me know, that I should be able to get the audio directly from my computer, so I don't have to use like the headphone jack to my speakers. That way I can use the RODECaster directly to the speakers, which will then give me the entire mix through my headphones all in one shot, which is going to remove a lot of cables that I have running around here. Because what people do with loopback on their software, even though I have loopback, I also have loops. I have loops upon loops of cables running around here, going back and forth, because I have a Windows PC underneath me that's routed to these speakers. I have my audio that you're listening to routed to the speakers, and then all the sounds coming from my computer to the speaker, so that I can hear the entire mix through my headphones. So I have everything there, and then I have everything compartmentalized of what's being used where, and that's also controlled through Ecamm and so on and so forth. So okay, that's exactly where we were, where my music was hot, so I think I should be good. Okay. Richard says, yes, I noticed that hum on the Soyuz mic preamp. Once I plugged it into another channel strip, it went away. It was driving us nuts. See, like, that's what I said. Like, I've learned that, gaining through the process of elimination. When it comes to audio, it's actually that. It's like processing, right? And I mentioned this to you as well. This is just my, my opinion. I've been doing more and more editing through the Ecamm videos, and the more you hear people's their preferences when it comes to audio, I really feel that audio compression and things like that, it's like salt, you know. A little bit is good, but when there's too much, you can notice right away. You know, you're like, ooh, these French fries are extra salty. So that's the way I feel when it comes to compression. It's almost like less is more, and the cleaner that you can get to it, the better. So that's where I sit right now. Okay, it says my one fear, the thing is the footprint. Yeah, very minimalistic. I wish I can say I'm minimalistic. You know, like I try to do everything. I am compressed alistic, so to speak. I am very limited to my space. So to get the most, I have to cram all of this here. But the thing is that it is here, and it only lives here. So it's not here and there and over there and so on and so forth. It's all right here, but as you can see, and let's not even look at, you see this area right under my hand right here? This part of the desk, that's what we call the cone of cleanliness. Anything that's outside of the cone of cleanliness is exactly the opposite of cleanly. It says Tom's RCP had a special code on it. Yeah, I bet like they had a special delivery service. Like, look, this was model 001. Okay, this update goes in order, so Mr. Buck gets it ahead of everyone else. All right, Carlos is here as well, saying hello to everyone. Thank you for stopping by, sir. All right, and everyone's saying hello to everyone. Let me just scroll through this here. He says maybe I could train Maestro to play the smart pads. Yeah, you could have him. You know what? He's gonna end up being your producer, man. He's just gonna be controlling everything behind the scenes. Okay, so Kevin's got a question here. Are you more excited for this than you were for the Mac Studio? You know what? I kind of, you know, it's gonna sound weird, but yeah, because of the simple fact that there is so many possibilities. Okay, for example, right, with this device, I'm already planning on how to like mix minus so many things, how to once again control music. I'm gonna absolutely love the fact that I'm gonna have a, you know, like a physical fader connected to my music audio source. The fact that it's gonna have Bluetooth capabilities for both, you know, like ingest and out. So I believe I should be able to like just connect my AirPods to it as a Bluetooth device, or my Sony headphones to monitor, because that's going to be what's feeding all of the audio out from my computer. So, you know, having that functionality might sound, you know, like just like kind of basic, but the basic things end up being sometimes the thing that just like drive you crazy the most. For example, you know, if you're on the Apple ecosystem, then you know you have all these iDevices like I do. So if I'm listening to something on the computer and I just so happen to be using my AirPods at that moment, I also get like a tweet or something on my phone, it's gonna just stop listening to whatever I'm watching just because I got a drop down notification on my phone. And then the drop down notification goes away, but it still stopped my video, and I'm over here like, what's going on with my computer? So little nuances like that just end up being like a pain in the butt, but that's kind of like what I'm excited for. That, and the fact that there's so many, like I said, there's so many possibilities. I can't wait. I can't wait, because the Mac Studio, although great, and I absolutely love it, I kind of knew what I was getting with the Mac Studio. You know, there's really nothing else that I was going to be doing more with the Mac Studio than I was with my Mac Mini, except doing it exponentially faster, right? Having more space for plugins for my programs, having a little bit more organization, and, you know, and having faster render speeds. But like I said, prior to my M1, If we were talking about my previous Mac Minis, my Intels, then yeah, we were talking a completely different ball game when it comes to like exporting my files that that I actually make for content, so on and so forth. That it would be like, okay, I think this video looks good, let's put it to render, good night, right? Turn off monitors, leave my computer, and I'll see you in the morning with a cup of coffee. So that the first thing I would do would be like get up and check my computer to see how the render came out. And if the render didn't come out, if something was missing and it said like, FX Factory, something, messed up. So in the middle of your video, you got this big red screen with an exclamation mark saying missing file or something like that, which is like the worst. And if, you've been in YouTube long enough, you would have seen it. You understand that big red like file missing, So if you had something like that, then you'd have to sit there and re-render. But once I got my M1, the Mac Mini, like the render times were just so much faster, even on the base core system, which is what I've mentioned here before, that the exporting at that point was never even an issue. It was like, okay, I'll go check it, 5 minutes, even if it's an export. Oh, it didn't turn out. Let me try it again. And it's like on the spot that you're trying it again. So bringing that back, that once I got the more powerful studio computer, it's like getting an upgrade in a vehicle. I still know how to drive, right? They're the same roads. I'm going to the same locations, right? None of that changes. The only thing changes is how I get there. Where the RODECaster Pro II, for me in particular, so we were mentioning this before, I think somebody had mentioned it, that if they had the RODECaster Pro 1, if they had the one, like, is this necessary? I'm like, most likely not, right? Because it all depends on this simple fact is, are you getting everything out of your RODECaster Pro 1? Because I really don't think that I still, even with my setup, would be maximizing the power of the RODECaster Pro 1. I think that in itself can exceed everything that I need as far as audio goes. So if I had that, I would be in the boat of saying I really kind of don't need it, But because I don't have the first one, and I was already saving, and then I've been, so fortunate that Ecamm took it upon themselves to be so freaking amazingly generous, and surprise all of us moderators with this. And, it helps them out too, because once we have that piece of tech, which we also understand that the majority of our community in Ecamm is going to have, having that in the hands of the moderators that are going to be answering the majority of the questions for them is a good idea on their part as well. So it's just like a perfect symbiosis. So because of that, I am extremely excited, because I've been, like chomping at the bit to get the first version for a while now. And Tom could probably, we were talking about this towards the beginning of the year. And to be like 6 months in, and it's like, okay, now there is like, it's a no-brainer if you were already like in the market for the RCP one to just pay the little bit extra to get the second version, because it's almost like you're future-proofing yourself, at least as far as firmware goes, as far as the software and the capabilities and all the new things that I had mentioned, like digital foot pedals, different preamps, like sound effects, so many things like that that's going to be coming for this system, that's where I'm really, really excited for. So I think that pretty much sums up like the difference of the enthusiasm for the products. Like, I absolutely love my Mac Studio, but I knew exactly what I was getting when I designed it that way and it clicked checkout. With the RCP, because it's a piece of tech that keeps evolving with each iteration of the firmware, is where it kind of is one of these amazing products that just keeps being renewed time and time again. So that's where I see like the excitement and the potential for that. Let me get something to drink here. All right. Now, hopefully the audio's been sounding good. I've been using this generic condenser microphone because of the spirit of the RCP2. Tom's video showed that it has settings for the pod mic, for the Procaster, and then it has a couple of settings for a couple of microphones, one being generic condenser, which is what we're listening to here, and another one would be generic dynamic microphone, which we also have here. So this was the $15 condenser phone that I bought on Amazon. This is my $12 microphone that I made myself. And the RODECaster Pro 2 has settings for a couple of generic kind of no brand name dynamic and condenser microphones, so I'm ecstatic for that. But now the money that I was saving up for the RCP one, I think is going to be now redirected to something that I didn't think was going to be, you know, on my list. But I think I'm probably going to end up picking up one of these fangled Shure SM7Bs. They tend to be good microphones and last the test of time. So I think I'm going to be bringing one of those into the studio as well. You know, kind of once I reach those funds the same way. So, yep, that's kind of the deal, just so that I have another microphone to add to the mix with built-in preamps. And this is just going to be so much fun. And I see Tom just left a message here. But Tom's like enthusiasm for this product, it just jumps off the screen right now, and I absolutely love it. So, you know, the hype that he had back in like 2017, 2018 for the RCP1 is just been like renewed, and I'm here for it, man. I absolutely love it. It's so cool to see that aspect. And you know, I can't wait for all of the future videos based around this device now. So it's just super cool. All right, let's get back to the chat here real quick, see what's going on. All right, so we got a couple of questions. All right, Tom says I should be able to do that. I guess, yeah, like route the audio back, right? Which is what's going to be super cool, which is, you know, like we're still figuring it out, and I don't want to bombard you, Tom, with like 1,000,001 questions, because I have 1,000,001 ideas of what could be possible. So I'm just gonna, you know, bite my tongue and just wait to see what I can, you know, like what crazy things I can do with it. But just an amazing video. You just showed so many avenues of the potential for this device, and it's just gonna be awesome. I feel like extremely fortunate to be able to be one of the first ones, period. You know, like not the first 10 or not the first one like Tom, but one of the first ones in the world at a time where it's hard to get a lot of these devices, to get his hands on one and start, you know, playing around with it. So I guess that's also where some of the enthusiasm builds up for it. But I'm also going to be making a couple of videos the same way. I released a video today, which was cool. I released a video about epidemic sound. I put my time into my videos, right? But one thing that I have been doing was, like, let's say I would have finished a video today. I would have scheduled that video for like Thursday or Wednesday or something like that. And then what I realized, and this is just me holding myself accountable, is that if I were to do that, I literally would not be moving on to like my next video project, because I have so many things that I could use my time on, but I won't move on to the next project because I kind of got that one in the bag. So what I decided to do is I said, you know what, in kind of that same Tom Buck enthusiasm, I said, you know what, I'm very enthusiastic and I was very proud of today's video. So I was like, you know what, I want to put this out and I'm going to put it out now. So I put it out in the middle of a Saturday afternoon. And, you know, what it made me realize is, like, I was still getting notifications from other people posting stuff. So why should I limit myself at all? So I'm not saying that I'm going to do it exactly, but I'm going to try my best and my hardest right now and put a concerted effort into releasing the videos as soon as I have them done. Because the way that my schedule is right now, it's a bit hectic, you know, to say the least. So I'm going to have like my efforts be put into these videos, and when I'm proud of it and ready for it to be released, I'm going to just set it off to the world, let the world have it, so that I can just move on from it mentally and start working on my next piece of content that's gonna make me feel the same way. That's gonna make me feel like, you know what, this is me perfecting and working on my skills day in, day out, you know, upgrading my skills. It says, it's crazy how you've organized everything so well in your space. Dude, it was a process, but thank you, because I have a lot here. Like, to say that it literally exists within this square cage, and that I have Mac Mini, Mac Studio, variety of microphones. I have 4 monitors. I have 5 cameras, live streaming, video editing, remote producing, Ecamm, you know, like you name it, and it's all done right here at this like command station. So this is I guess my equivalent of like a what are they called? The trucks. Yeah, like the truck that you would have on the side of an event, you know, something like that. Like, you know, where you have the entire TV truck, you know, and you have that all built in, getting the signal, doing the production, the whole thing. This is like my mini TV truck production studio. So, yeah, but thank you for that. Okay. I think I'm more excited than I was for the Mac Studio. I'm slowly growing on the small collection of mics for my videos. That's nice. I look forward to one device that could keep all the mics plugged in. Well, depending on how many mics you have plugged in, you know, physically you can have 4, maybe 6 if they're USB, but at the end of the day, like, I have 2 that I have plugged in all the time, which are those 2 right there. So with that being said, you know what, let's switch microphones just for the hell of it. Okay, there we go. All right, and we march on. I lost a pop filter, but I think the pop filter worked pretty well, so we will continue. All right, where are we? Question: can you remember the last time you had technology failure during a live stream? It seems your streams always go on without a hitch. What a question to put after. Let me change the microphone and have my pop filter fall off and do that stuff. Yes, that was like perfect timing. Yeah, I remember what was the last time. It was right now. Where I'm dropping pop filters. The last time where I had a failure happen, a serious failure, I do not remember. Well, actually, the last failure Paul saved me from last week really, really fast. And this is just going out there. If you're doing live streams, I'm gonna highly advocate and recommend Discord. For one reason, I've had moderators shoot me messages through the chat, right? And because the chat doesn't scroll automatically and I'm answering questions, and if I've searched for Q colon where I won't see anything unless it's a question, he would literally have to reference to me and tell me that I'm on mute by pressing Q colon, you're on mute, which, and you know, it really doesn't make sense. So I sat here for just like about a minute and I rewatched my live stream when it happened. So I rewatched the live stream and it was like a minute of me just being completely on mute, explaining something about my setup when and the message was already in chat before I even recognized it. But because I have my Discord open over here to the left, it is not as frequently moving as the chat is normally. So when something moves here, it makes that much more of a difference. So I was in the middle of a conversation and Paul sent me the message, mute, mute, mute. It popped up, and within 5 seconds of it hitting that screen on Discord, I was already back live. So if it wasn't for this back channel, which I find it to be freaking amazing. Aiden, bro. Aiden is going for it, man. Like I'm here and going. I'm like, when are you gonna take a break, bro? When are you gonna let me get through? But yeah, the speed of Discord, I guess, because it's made for gamers, and they were trying to remove as much, if any, latency, so that while they're gaming, they can have that one up on their friends to make sure that, hey, you know what, this guy's coming around the corner, or so on and so forth, you know. Red team go, red team go. Let me know if you guys know what I'm referencing there. But because they want to have such a fast communication, this was the fastest method for that. So prior to me dropping pop filters, it was me putting myself on mute through a simple scene change. And luckily we have an amazing bunch of moderators here, and Paul was able to let me know directly through Discord and made things smooth, seamless, just awesome. So highly recommend it. Okay, so Tom says something like the RCP is much more tactile upgrade. Yeah, it is. That's such a good way of putting it. It says the RCP is like Photoshop in certain workflows, meaning you can become an expert on certain features, but you might never use other features. Nobody knows every single feature of Photoshop, which is very true. And that's why I reference to that I don't even know if I'd be able to put the RCP 1 through its paces, you know, and like maximize it with even my setup. But where I'm at right now, that I don't have that, like there would be no reason for me to buy like last year's Toyota Corolla if I can buy this year's model for $100 difference, right? Like it's just like the same thing. I always analogize it to vehicles and cars. It says totally agree. I would use Affinity Photo for literally use 10 features ish, but it must have been for my workflow. Absolutely. Making your own presets is really fun. I got my SM7B dialed in this morning and saved it. Oh man, that's nice. It says the presets are just starting points, so you can just dial in any mic. That sounds great. Also, not needed mic boosters could potentially save $400 plus. That's absolutely true. And I'll tell you this because I had mentioned it in one of my live streams as well, that I said, you know what, I want to try getting one of those mic boosters, like inline boosters here, to see if I can get that extra clean gain without having to, you know, just like crank up, you know, everything on the Zoom. And I went online to look for them, and I found that I forgot which one was, because there's so many. It wasn't the Fathead, because I think that one runs for like $100. The Soyuz is like $250. The Cloud Lifter is like $200 or $150, depending if you get the 1 or 2 channel. The Clark Technic, that was it. The Clark Technic one which was like $35. And I was like, you know what? Let me go get that $35 one, right? And I put it in my cart, but I didn't buy it right away. When I went to go buy it a couple of days later, it was out of stock. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait up for it. Hasn't been restocked, right? And I'm like, really? Just like a couple of days of just when I thought of it, not when I thought of it. I was like, oh, let me just put it in my cart as like a space saver. And when I went to go purchase it, it was gone. And then they were selling competitors like the TNT one and a bunch of different brands. Excuse me. And the cheapest one was like $85 and up. And then people were then selling or trying to resell the Clark Technic that was selling for $35 for an equivalent of $80 to $100. I'm like, what's going on here, man? Like, you know what? Forget it. I'll just wait for it to, you know, regulate in prices if it ever does. But now it's not necessary. Boy, Aiden is having a blast. John says, yes, no cloud lifter. I was thinking the same thing, a few dollars extra. Exactly, right? So if you think about it, if you were going to buy the RODECaster Pro 1 with, you know, a inline mic booster, just get the two, right? Because it's going to cost you the same thing. It says, the Procaster microphone sounded very bright and wasn't the biggest fan. My main mic was the Electro Voice RE20 EW Icon Pro and the Stellar X Vintage. I want a Rode mic and the NT1 is leading the way. Yeah, but D, you also have that, which one is it? Oh, I think it's the Icon Pro. Yeah, the Icon Pro, right? That one, that's a dope mic. Plus, it looks so nice. I gotta say, like, that stainless steel finish that it has looks dope. Tom says the NT1 is a stellar mic. I see the pun there. He's similar to the Stellar. Says, good word for the day. Let the world have it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, the visual dad. It says, you have a killer setup. Thank you. I believe you just left a message on my video earlier today. So, yeah, hopefully you enjoy that playlist. And, you know, I just put it on there for you, bro, because I believe that it's also in the description. So, yeah, my 9.5 hour playlist made it public and was available. Also, disclaimer, because this happened to Tom. If the song has lyrics in it, do understand that I've downloaded the version with the stems and I've removed the lyrics. So anything that could or might be said in these songs is not the way that I utilize them, because all of the tracks that you've heard tonight have had no vocals. I tried to eliminate them for my talking, you know, bits, so that there's no words that could get mixed up in that aspect. But I'm also learning a whole new system as well of increasing my my knowledge on equalizers. So I am now starting to delve into the world of removing the direct frequencies that my voice lives in, so that I can pick any song and just kind of remove the space of where my voice resides, so that I can have, you know, how do you say, elbow room, you know? So you could just have that going. But at that same time, while I'm studying these things on how to remove with equalizers, you know how you now have a new system with audio ducking built into it, so that if I were to be quiet, the audio would just gain itself back up, and once I start talking, it'll start bringing itself back down, all through the RODECaster Pro 2. Like, those are the things that get me hyped, especially because me is not so much that I know all the audio processing, but me is more having to do with mixing the music and, you know, getting the sound that I want from the stream. So definitely. Tom says, random mic switching. What is this, my stream? No, nowhere near it, bro. But I appreciate the compliment. Kathy's here. Says, my brother is excited because he's getting my RCP when my 2 comes in. You see, that's dope, right? The hand-me-down aspect is so cool when it comes to this, because there's so many people who are thinking like, oh, I would love to have like an extra RCP to do something else. Will now get this and now build like mobile systems, because that's actually what I had in mind now, because I know that it's going to replace my Zoom, and my Mac Studio replaced my Mac Mini, even though I am using it like this right now, and it is pretty freaking convenient. I'm not gonna lie. I am thinking of still making a setup where I can just detach the Mac Mini, throw it into a Pelican case, and make a full mobile setup with, you know, audio. Basically mobilize and put into a Pelican case my previous setup, you know, with a one cam link, options for a secondary angle, just maybe, you know, but because I know the capabilities there, but then just have it set up in a small Pelican case so that it's easy to go. I want to have this set up, in all sincerity, for September for People of Video, so that I have that already set up. And however I decide to make it there, because to be honest with you, it looks like I'm going to be taking another road trip, just because, you know, I haven't had the ability to put Aiden on a plane to see how he would react prior to it. So it doesn't seem like that's going to be something that's going to happen. For that reason and convenience, I think the best thing is for me to replicate the same thing I did last year, which in all sincerity doesn't even bother me at all, because people take road trips yearly all the time, and it's such an amazing event. It's kind of like my vacation, so I'm so down to set things up to make another road trip. And if I have my mobile, you know, live streaming setup in my Pelican case, is going to be super easy to maintain and actually live stream my events while I drive, while I do everything. So that's the amazing thing about content creation and these digital streets, right? The digital connections, where I will have the ability to continue to work more than I did before, because the whole trip that I took to Albany last year, it was impossible for me to fix phones in South Florida, right? Because I wasn't there physically yet. Any work that I am doing, you know, is delivered through emails and through digital platforms and sources that way. So I can literally work from anywhere in the world. And for that time, I'm going to be working out of Albany, New York. So if you happen to like find yourself within the area or have the chance to make it out to People of Video, I would love to see you there, because it was such a game-changing event for me last year. It's what set a lot of the things that you see right now in front of you today in motion. And I can't wait to see so many amazing people, some of them being in the chat right now. You know who you are. I can't wait to meet all of you amazing people in September. It's going to be so much fun. Aiden and I will be there, absolutely, and it's just going to be so much fun. So much fun. So, all right. Says, what an awesome live stream yesterday. Tom should make the city's GAW list. I'm giving him the right for the second. But he's already on the list. But as you can see, you've already gotten like the go ahead to hit the list twice. But that's funny, because I was just gonna finish tonight with Cities GAW. So thanks again, John, for reminding me, making sure that I stay on my P's and Q's. He goes, I don't know what that is, but thank you. Well, you're just gonna find out right now. It says, yes, I just found you. Thank you for the list. Very welcome, very welcome. Okay, so this is Cities GAW. So what is Cities GAW? This is Cities GAW, and Cities GAW is channels that I think you should go and watch. And I believe Tom could have been the first one on the list, but I digress. You were there within the first month, definitely, like the first couple of weeks, but if not the first, because I'm not keeping track. But if you want to know, the exact list is found nowhere other than my Discord community, and there was a subcategory there called Cities GAW, where you will find all of the past participants, including today. So let me bring that up. Boom. Okay, Chrome should be up. There we go. All right, yes. And speaking of junkies and microphones and so on and so forth, even though we know Tom Buck is amazing, another really good content creator is Mike Delgadio from the channel Booth Junkie. He also had a live stream just a couple of days after the fact because he was also one of the lucky few to get his hands on a pre-production unit of the RCP2, and he is based behind the voice actor, the voiceover perspective. Booth Junkie is a voiceover actor that has a voice booth built within his home and a small studio. He has a variety of different videos that go through comparisons of mics, but one of the first videos that I found of him, that I saw of his, because I found him through another content creator, Andrew Scott from the channel Podcastage. He mentions him a lot. So once I first saw his video, it was about the voiceover jargon and terms that are used within the voiceover community, and I was like, that is just, it piqued my interest so well that then just started me down the rabbit hole, including with Tom Buck and so many other amazing creators when it comes to the audio aspect, because even though I'm a camera junkie, right, when it comes to video, one of my main sayings is that bad audio is unwatchable, which is very true, because people will be very forgiving when it comes to the visuals of anything. Whether you could be watching a movie like The Blair Witch, which seemed to be all shot on like super VHS to give that type of aesthetic, or if you're literally making a movie in today's day and age in black and white because you're trying to get that like old school nostalgia, you can put up with a lot of different artistic or creative liberties when it comes to the visuals, right? But that's what we would call stylizing, like the difference between a standard picture profile that you would see on a news set comparative to like a show like Walking Bad, where everything was like orangey and dry, trying to give you that aesthetic just by seeing it, like there was heat coming off of the television. But audio is something that's very, very unforgivable. And if it's something that you get wrong, you'll have people running out of like wherever, just like my ears are bleeding, because you've never heard someone say, oh, that video looks so bad that it hurt my eyes. But you have heard someone say the audio was so bad that I couldn't stand it because it physically hurt my ears. Because when it comes to the audio frequencies, it's a lot more sensitivity, and with that sensitivity comes a lot more intimacy. And with that aspect, if you put concerted effort into it, then it will make the difference leaps and bounds in your content, in your live streams, in your podcast, in anything that you put your effort in. So this is another amazing channel, Mr. Mike Delgadio. You can learn a lot from him. He was just called on his live stream the voice of God or something like that, because he does have an extremely awesome prominent voice, and also very impressive with his acting prowess, because when it comes to doing voiceover, it's not just about speaking and having a good voice. It is literally having to act. And when you're reading a book with multiple characters, you would actually have to voice those multiple characters and keep them within character to know that there's an audible difference between them. And this man, he's really good, man. I give him all the props in the world. I was also fortunate to speak with him in a conference, one of these virtual conferences. I don't remember exactly which one, because I have participated and moderated quite a few, but it was really cool, and just a really cool guy, great channel. And you can learn a lot. So this week's Cities Gauze channels that I think you should go and watch, definitely we're talking about Mike Delgadio and Booth Junkie. So definitely channels that you should go and watch. And that's Cities Gauze. And here we go. Let's go back to the main shot. Boom. And that's where we have it. So everyone, thank you as always for spending your most precious commodity, which is your time here with me in the Camera Junkie live stream. This is always the best part of my week. And I have to thank all of you for that, because this is the place where I would rather be. There's no other place but right here, right now. And guess what? If you want, we're going to do it all over again next week, because next week will be episode or week number 79, which is just, yeah, we're 2 weeks away from 80 episodes. 80 episodes consecutive, week in, week out, of the Camera Junkie live stream. And I can't wait to see you all here. Oh, Melanie just came in late. Just snuck in. You're going to have to, clean the erasers. All right. So, but everyone, thank you as always for taking the time. You guys are amazing. The RODECaster Pro II, that will be shipping out in a couple of weeks. And as soon as I have it, I will be having it here on the live stream. That will probably be the topic, and for that day, I'm probably just gonna go overhead cam like this and just put it right here and just start talking about it and messing with all the good on that live stream. So yeah, excited for that. So get ready for that coming up in the future. And yeah, and that's where we're gonna leave it. Guys, you are amazing. I'm Puerto Rican, so it takes me forever to say goodbye. So with that being said, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. It's gonna be an amazing week. If you haven't checked it out, I didn't get your name. You know what, talking about that? Visual Dad, the Visual Dad. Introduce yourself, down below if you can. I would love to know your name, and so that the rest of the Camera Junkie crew can know who it is. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that like button. It costs you nothing and it goes a very, very long way. If you're watching this on replay, leave a comment. Let me know if you also have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And with that, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a good night. Till next time.